Hi, this is our presentation, and the topic we chose was AI and education. I'm Julie Russo.
I'm Samantha Day.
And my name is Aneth Rico. Today, as we lead talking about AI in education, we want to start off by talking about the structure. And for some of our observations, we had regional initiatives, national programs, as well as global platforms in regards to AI education. Some of the regional initiatives are like local governments and how schools utilize AI tools for specific curricula, language needs, some even for overcoming language barriers. Some of the national programs, we found that countries including the US, China, and India have integrated AI into their education systems with investments in AI research. As far as other nations, like the UK's national AI strategy supports AI to enhance learning outcomes. And finally, some global platforms, we can see companies such as the Khan Academy, Duolingo, and Coursera that offer AI-powered learning tools promoting accessibility and scalability worldwide. Some of the historical developments that we found include the initial CAI systems focused on basic drills and simulations. And then some of the modern advances include AI-driven tools that enable personalized learning as well as adaptive feedback and real-time assistance. We see a shift more towards a little bit more sophisticated applications where they're now getting more personalized and offer this real-time assistance. So we've definitely seen a great historical development within a very small time period of history. As far as growth patterns, we wanted to touch on technological advances, widespread adoption, as well as education changes. Some of the rate of growth information that we found leads to, as we mentioned, a rapid growth, mostly due to increased digital adoption, global internet access, and the demand for personalized learning solutions, such as platforms like GPT. These platforms we found that have had an exceedingly annual growth rates in the last couple of years. So we've seen a very rapid rate of growth. As far as the nature of the growth, we've seen that artificial intelligence in education reflects a steady progress driven by technological advancements. A lot of our schools post-pandemic have moved to things like computers for students to do their homework and their school assignments. So we've seen how artificial intelligence has creeped its way through our technological advances. There are some fluctuations, like, for example, the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, which kind of spurred the growth and really our hands were tied at that point. So in order for us to grow as a society, we had to adopt these new ideas and new ways of bringing that education to our students.
The target customer for AI in the educational industry are students and parents for online tutoring or learning platforms, for example, teachers to help with lesson plans, and for trainings for those that are in the industry. These are being marketed to these customers through blogs, social media promotions, and sales teams, either in person or online sales teams, and also events and conferences that those in the industry are attending. There are many environmental factors that took place to help AI take off in the educational industry. With COVID and the increase in hybrid learning, the need for online resources grew. Through this change, many were able to realize that AI could be used for adaptive learning. Those that learn at different paces or have disabilities were able to use AI for personalized learning.
Some of the leaders that we found in artificial intelligence in regards to education, um, we noticed that most of these leaders had similar characteristics, such as being effective and being passionate about advancing in this technological area. Some of the ones that we found that were probably most recognizable were Khan Academy. We also found the Chan and Zuckerberg Initiative, OpenAI, which are the creators of ChatGPT. These were all included in our paper, and they were the ones that we thought were most prominent and most recognizable.
Okay, so for corporate social responsibility challenges that we've seen in AI, the black box can be an issue because humans basically are finding it hard to trust this black box, which means like the output they're getting from AI without much reason behind it, and that AI has a pretty spotty record on delivering unbiased decisions or outputs. So this can be a large issue in the education field. Another issue, our students are having increased reliance on AI tools. This is negatively impacting problem-solving skills, and we're finding a sharp decline in performance among participants who relied on AI the most. That was found in a study. And then I'll get into we'll get more into the ethical issues below, but because there is a lack of trust, independent organizations are conducting third-party audits to verify adherence to ethical standards, especially concerning bias and data security. Yeah.
There are many ethical challenges with AI in the educational industry. Data ownership is a large concern as there's not yet laws in place to determine what these AI companies can do with this data and how they can use it. This leads into privacy concerns. There are also no laws in place for privacy in AI companies, which leads to a big concern as a majority of the users are going to be minors in the educational industry, which poses a huge risk for them. Many companies are also showing a priority for profit over student welfare, which leads to many students that are at a disadvantage to being limited in educational access and not having equality in their education. The programming of AI is also growing ethically due to many of the results not being accurate or having citations behind them. The question of who is responsible for these incorrect statistics and facts are being reviewed. The educational industry is managing these concerns through a various amount of programs. The Family of Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA, is working to regulate how educational AI is collecting, using, and disclosing student information. There are also frameworks that are being built through third-party audits and reviews to ensure that privacy and data are being correctly used. Many leaders and innovators in the industry, such as Google and Microsoft, are properly following these FERPA regulations and frameworks and have committed to creating a safer industry for students and those in education.
So, when looking towards the future for AI education, some trends that are forecasted is that generative AI will be increasingly used more for creating lessons plans, educational videos, quizzes, and practice materials for students and teachers. AI systems will deliver hyper-personalized learning experience, which will adapt to students' emotional states or any disabilities they have, their performance and their feedback. There will be more ethics training that is needed for bias outputs that are getting increasingly worse. And then governments and international organizations will start to introduce clearer guidelines for ethical AI in education. Next slide. And then this is just a graph of how much money AI in education has made from 2022, when it kind of took off from COVID, and its projection in 2032, which is $53 billion. And that's all.